If your baby has tongue tie or lip tie and you're going to go through the procedure, I'm going to explain exactly how it went in detail. We got this procedure done because my baby had a super shallow latch. She was pinching down on my nipples and they were cracking, bleeding, and scabbing. I also vlogged the whole day of the procedure, so if you're interested in that, then I will add the card here for that vlog.
You're so pretty. I want to talk about the procedure really quick, the lip and tongue tie procedure. So we went in and they ask you to bring the baby in hungry because the milk has certain properties in it that can prevent infection. And also, when you latch or feed with a bottle, it can compress the area and stop bleeding because with the procedure, there is going to be a little bit of bleeding. I was previously told that they don't really have nerve endings in those areas and that it won't really hurt them. But when I talked to the ear, nose, and throat doctor who actually did the procedure, he said, yes, it will hurt her. But it's temporary pain and we will, do whatever we can after to comfort her. And so basically what they do is they take a really sharp pair of like tiny little scissors and a I don't know if you've heard of like a tongue blade where it's just where they like push the lip out of the way just to hold it out of the way, and then they literally snip the frenulum under the tongue and then a little bit of like deep tissue that's under the upper lip. Then they're going to push their finger back on the tissue, putting pressure on it to kind of like pull that skin back. And the baby is going to be screaming. It's so hard to watch it as a parent. It's very quick. I mean, it took him like 60 seconds to do it. He was very, very good. What are you doing, Mama? You want it back? And then immediately after the procedure, he'll want you to feed. The doctor will want you to feed. And so what I did is I brought my breastfeeding pillow with me and I tried to latch her because she was brought hungry to the appointment and she's used to bottle feeding. She was kind of like panicking and throwing her head back and really worked up, and you could tell she was very uncomfortable and she just didn't want to latch. She kept throwing her head back. She would have like a couple sucks and then she would let go. Kept throwing her head back, throwing her head back. I could never get her to latch, and there was some bleeding to where there was blood on my nipple and we had gauze and we were wiping up the blood and trying to latch her, and then she was swallowing the blood and then not wanting to latch, and it was just like a whole cycle. So I think we tried to latch her maybe like less than 5 minutes, maybe like 3 minutes. We tried to latch her and we couldn't get her to latch. And so I just was like, I asked my husband, I'm like, just give me the bottle, because I had pumped breast milk before. And so we gave her the bottle full of breast milk, and I then paused the bottle, tried to latch her again in a different position, and I still couldn't get her latched. It was kind of like the same thing where there was some bleeding. We were wiping up the blood, and we never did achieve like a solid latch. She did get like a little bit of milk through the nipple, but never got like a consistent solid latch, and ended up getting like a 70 ml bottle. And then right after that, the bleeding stopped after we gave her the bottle full of breast milk, and then she just fell asleep and was comfortable and happy and fine. And we put her in the car seat. She slept all the way home. And then since then, I've tried to latch. This is like the third time I tried to latch, and she does the same thing where she just wants a bottle. She's hungry and just does not want to latch onto the breast. She gets a little bit like worked up and frustrated. And then this last time, so the third time I tried, she did latch for about like 5 to 7 minutes and definitely got some milk. Like I saw it dripping out of her mouth, and she was swallowing and doing really well. I still think the feeding was a little pinchy, but it didn't hurt as bad as before, which is the whole reason why we did this procedure, is because when she was feeding, she was literally like chomping my nipple down to the point where when she would let go, my nipple would be like squished like a hamburger. And then my nipples started cracking and bleeding and blistering, and it was so painful. So I had to use Meta Honey patches and get them all healed up. And then once they healed, you know, now I can try and breastfeed again. So we're kind of starting over. She's 12 days old right now, and we're just gonna have to take the steps to train her to breastfeed again, because now she's so used to the bottle that she doesn't really want to work to breastfeed because she knows she can just get it so easy from the bottle. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I'm just so proud of her for getting through today. It was so hard watching her go through that, and just watching her become frustrated with breastfeeding and stuff. After the second time I tried to breastfeed, I kind of got a little overwhelmed and started crying because she didn't want to breastfeed, and she was a little bit fussy. And even when I gave her the bottle, she only wanted half of it, where usually she'll take the whole thing really easy. So I could tell that her mouth was a little sore, and it just made me sad to see her sore, and just, it was overwhelming, the procedure. And so I started crying. But she's doing really good. There hasn't been any bleeding since, and I think that I'm really, really hopeful that we're going to be able to breastfeed very soon.